Right. Let's transition to the rest of the news. There's some good ones over here. Want to talk about gold off the bat?
Sure.
4,200 as of yesterday. I'm not sure. What is the price of gold today?
43.70 I saw.
Yeah, because I was just looking at everything, the price yesterday. 40, is it? No, it's still 42. Is right.
Did it go up to 43.70? I thought I saw 43.70. Over 6,000 Canadian.
43.70. Yeah, you're right. So it went back up today. Another incredible went that high. It was $2,600 USD in January of this year. So in the span of 10 months, it's got up what? $1,600?
I had a fantastic conversation in Montreal with Fundamentals from the Rock Paper Bitcoin podcast this weekend about this. Me and Business Cat and what's his name? What was it? Scott Kisser from Swan? I think that's his name, Scott Kisser from Swan. The four of us were having sushi in the middle at the conference, and Fundamentals just said, like gold's doing our heavy lifting here. Gold's going up. All the attention is going to be on gold. All the negative press is going to be on gold. Because it's something that I worry about. Like, we all want Bitcoin to succeed, but I've always been rather nervous as a relatively public. I mean, I'm small fry, like I'm just some guy, but I am out there a little bit in the Bitcoin space, at least in Canada. And I've always been a little bit worried that if Bitcoin goes to the moon, then there's going to be a target on my back, the $5 wrench attack type of thing. But if we have gold going up to 15,000, 20,000, which is still a long ways away, but that's paving the path for Bitcoin. And that's taking a lot of the pressure that we might have. And I think that's a really good point by Fundamentals.
Now the question is, why is this happening? Why is gold running up? There's always a talk that central banks are making buys because they're not happy with what's going on with the US dollar, but Trump being there and the White House, tariffs. You also have the war in Ukraine still going on, and this ceasefire in Israel. And now I think about it, like, didn't we have an attack from Iran into Israel not too long, or vice versa, Israel into Iran? Either way. Yeah. But that seems to have
Israel into Qatar as well.
Yeah, and they went in there and they killed somebody. And Qatar, didn't they give Trump a plane? Am I wrong?
Yep.
So there's a dynamic here.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And that's not even talking about the political stuff going on in Europe right now.
They robbed the Louvre.
They robbed the Louvre, and France.
What the fuck with the crane? Did you see this? Some motherfucker went with a fucking crane and a grinder and fucking got in there. What the fuck? What kind of security is this?
See, what were they going at? They were going after gold, Lind. They were going after gold.
It was some sort of jewels, was it not? It wasn't just entirely gold.
It was Napoleon. Apparently, it was jewels that have some ties to Napoleon Bonaparte. Allegedly.
As long as they didn't go after his private parts.
The guy was dedicated. Yeah, that's true.
As long as they didn't go after his private parts, that's good.
But all these.
You ever hear that story, by the way?
What's that?
When I think that the story is when Napoleon died. He died off some island off Africa.
Corsica.
They cut off his schlong, and it was preserved.
Okay.
That's the story, man. Imagine that.
I didn't know about that. I have gone down the rabbit hole a little bit of Napoleon's feud with the British central bankers, and it's
his benefit. I hope that him being physically short didn't also represent in other areas of being, I hope it wasn't all symmetrical.
Yeah.
Anyways,
maybe his nickname was Tripod.
Right. He was short enough that it's possible, right?
Maybe.
So this gold shit.
This gold stuff is pretty wild. And I think there's a lot of factors. The political instability, it looks like banks are going to have to start printing. It looks like that. I don't know for sure. I also think there's some things very specific to gold in terms of physical delivery and all these contracts and the difference between the London exchange and the Chinese exchange and all this stuff. I think a lot of stuff is making people a little bit worried that they can't get their gold delivered on time. So they're paying a premium to make sure that they can get it delivered. So all these things are causing things to progress quicker and quicker and quicker.
And Zero Hedge was reporting today that silver was in short supply in India.
Yeah, I've seen that as well too. And I heard in China as well, where for the first time in a long time that Chinese capacity to you don't really mine silver. Silver is not really mined on its own. It's kind of mined as a byproduct, but refining capacity in China is pretty much tapped out. So it's kind of like a short squeeze here, but silver's different. Silver's a shitcoin. Silver is an absolute shitcoin. So silver kind of lost its monetary premium. It's kind of unneeded now. Just the way that like Bitcoin is going to make gold, it's going to turn gold into a shitcoin. So silver that's already happened to silver, but silver is needed for a lot of industrial purposes, including, and probably what's causing this rise in silver is the military stuff. So missiles and tanks and airplanes.
We're starting to lose you. Or is it me? I think my connection is still good.
I still see you. Anyway, I was just saying about how silver is required in a lot of industrial manufacturing sectors, including the military.
Yeah.
So the rise in silver's price may have more to do with that than with the monetary premium.
Now we're back. Okay. I want to transition to a different topic, if you don't mind.
Sure.
It's an interesting one. The city of Richmond, British Columbia. You saw this, right?
Oh, yeah. The land acknowledgement.
Yes. Yeah. So the BC Supreme Court, they made a decision just, I think in August of this year, and it was the Cowichan tribes. They looks like that they may have legal claim of property in the city of Richmond. And even though if somebody may have purchased a home there and they think now that it's theirs or they have claim to it based on the fact that they paid money, the Supreme Court decision may override that. And a lot of people are beginning to wonder because this letter came out from the mayor of Richmond saying that there's serious implications from this court decision and the pending appeal. So he says that in the letter it says, the court has declared Aboriginal title to your property, which may compromise the status and validity of your ownership. This was mandated without any prior notice to the landowners. This is interesting stuff.
This is so incredibly bad from a precedent-setting standpoint. Like, I want to believe that this is a little bit of, hyperbole, like people kind of like making a mountain out of nothing. I want to believe that. But in the back of my head, I'm like, no, this could be really bad. This could set like one of the most dangerous precedents can possibly imagine. That like literally it could completely destroy all private property rights in the entire country. And from that, you can extrapolate that no company would ever want to invest here, ever. Nobody would ever want to buy property here, ever.
Yeah. And think about how much
extremely scary.
Think about how much of our economy is directly tied to real estate through the buying and selling, updating, for whatever.
Where does it end? Is that like what happens? Okay, so 500 years ago, this person's great grandmother lived nearby. Therefore, we have to give them your property. Is that is that really what we're saying here? And go take a look at what happened in South Africa. And this is really scary, guys.
It is. And depending on how things go with this, And BC has a lot of these decisions they still have to make. So there's a lot of First Nation lands, I guess, that they have to resolve over there, and that could impact the price. I think the number, to go back to what I was saying earlier, BC's economy, like the province of BC, I think it was like 20% or 25% is tied to real estate. Like if that gets rugged, holy fuck, the tax dollars that are lost, the businesses that are going to have to close up, like it would cripple the BC
Catastrophic.
economy. Yeah.
Absolutely catastrophic. Like,
And
I
then-
can't overstate how catastrophic this could be.
Yeah, and a
But
domino
that being
effect.
said, yeah, like the domino effect of all what it would do to banks, what it
Yeah.
would do to businesses, and the
And
precedent.
then,
the
as you're saying,
absolute
foreign investment
precedent.
was
Sad.
gone. Like who here, anybody listening or watching, who would invest any money in Venezuela right now, considering the history of Venezuela? I don't think too many people would be take my money. I want to invest in it. There's a reason why, right? And if there's history that goes against that type of initiative, then you're not going to do it, and then you're stuck printing money until the end.
I have to think on this one that cooler heads will prevail. Who's actually on the other side? Like who's actually saying, like, yeah, this is a good idea?
Have you seen the people that are protesting out there and like the Kings No More and stuff like that? I think there's a number of people that are out there that would like to see this type of thing play out the way it is.
Yeah,
right. They're not thinking long term. And I feel sorry for the people of Cowichan. Forgive me if I butchered the name. I'm not familiar with it, but
no, this is not about race at all. This is not about like indigenous versus non-indigenous at all. This is just about property rights. Like, do we have property rights? And if you don't have property rights, you have nothing.
Yeah. 100%. I don't have anything else to say about this topic. I think this is something that's going to be.
Let's all keep an eye on it. I'm not overly concerned yet. Like I do think it might be a little bit of rage bait, clickbait, rage stuff for Twitter.
Well, I think it lends itself to the next topic, and I'm not sure if you want to talk about it, but I'll just quickly discuss it. The housing design catalog. Do you want to discuss that at all, or no?
Sure. I looked at the calendar. I wasn't all that impressed. I don't know about you.
Also, people wonder what the fuck I'm talking about. It's the government of Canada decided they have released something called the Housing Design Catalog. You can check it out at housing-infrastructure.canada.ca, and you can see these pre-designed homes that could be streamlined in terms of getting them out there and built. So you can pick whatever type of home you want. I'm just going to go to the catalog right here to see what beauties we have.
There's not that many of them, right? There's not that many designs in there.
No.
And some of them are as small as 500 square feet.
Yeah, and it's for multiple people. Like even if you get something that's bigger, it's for multiple people. Here's the design thing.
Seems like this is not something that I think government should really get stuck in.
So I'm going to get to the Ontario section. Here it is. Yeah, see, I like this one here, accessory dwelling unit 1. It's 634 square foot. It's designed for 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom. I'm not sure how many people are going to live there, but interesting.
Well, that's accessory. It's accessory. That's not so bad. Like if your grandmother wants to live with you, right? Where she your grandmother doesn't need a 3,000 square foot house. Well, this is something that she kind of has like this little thing in the back. She has some autonomy.
I just like the name. Accessory dwelling unit 01.
There you go.
Or 4plex 02. 6plex. Stacked townhouse 01. They just love it, I just fucking love this stuff. Anyways, this is
sounds like a Bitcoin address. If you write it all out.
I wonder if you could order this on Amazon if it just shows up in the front of your house and you put it together.
You used to be able to order them in Sears. The Sears catalog.
I'm
dead serious. Yeah. I'm dead serious. The inspiration for this comes from the Sears catalog, post World War II in Canada, where you literally could go, and it was something like $2,000, $3,000, where you could just order all these parts and then hire a local contractor to put them all together. It even included the nails. I'm dead serious.
They thought of everything. All right, let's talk about this Bangladeshi dude. Bangladesh. Anyways, he's a Canadian, or sorry, a refugee living. No, he's living, I guess, in Montreal at one time. Okay. Anyways, he was a refugee. Is a refugee anyway, living in Canada. Buddy mistakenly crossed a border to the United States May 12th, and U.S. immigrations. He's now being held in Buffalo. Apparently, this is a potential case of human trafficking. He was crossing a rural road in Quebec, and he was saying he wanted to spend some time out of his home, and some friend out there said he had a place he could stay, and he was instructed by a friend. He was guided by him and everything to cross the border. He didn't think he was crossing the border, but he sure did. And remember, this is a guy that's in Canada as a refugee. And so traveling without any documents is going to cause some real problems. So now he's being detained in fucking Buffalo, and they're figuring out what to do with this guy. But like, what the? I don't know. I thought it was a funny story. Not for this guy, but just in general.
Look, what do you guys say on CBP all the time? It's like, pay your taxes.
We say a lot of things.
Say a lot of things, but pay your taxes. Right? You guys always say that. You guys are very consistent with that. I think you should start saying this one because as I'm sure your demographics are changing over time, you know, your listenership, the demographics of your show are changing. It's like, if you're here on refugee status, travel with your passport.
They can't.
You know?
They don't have a passport.
Or see, whatever
when you come here
as
a refugee,
travel.
You get a travel document, but it's the traveling. Okay, if you are here as a refugee in Canada, nobody's going to take you into another country if you still have refugee status, because they'll think that you're not staying there, and that's the reality. So when you're here in Canada as a refugee, you should not travel anywhere. That's the recommended solution for you until you sort out your status, until you eventually become permanent resident or citizen. So that's the reality. This guy fucked up by leaving Canada before he was able to get legal status, like something beyond refugee status in Canada.
It does make for the plot of a pretty funny, like, comedy, right? Like you could turn this into a movie and get like someone like some comedian to play this guy.
You know who would do it well though? Disney. I think they would be able to cast this properly.
Maybe that guy on Parks and Rec, the brown guy from Parks and Rec, he's pretty funny.
I never watched Parks and Rec.
I don't know what his name
is.
He's funny enough. Yeah. He could just, it kind of like a Mr. Bean type character where he's like the Bangladeshi Mr. Bean, and he's just kind of lost in rural Vermont. You know, he's living in Quebec, and then all of a sudden he's in Vermont, and then he ends up in Buffalo. Like there's something here. There's a good plot here. It's got good bones.
Let's talk about this Jamaican dude. Here in Canada, he was found doing cocaine trafficking. And what happened was, after being caught, the judge decided to cut his sentence significantly. The decision was because of his imminent deportation. And they were saying that the fact that the court determined that the man had, quote, experienced systemic and personal discrimination as a black man, and that this has certainly played a role in his criminality, end quote. And they acknowledge the impact of racial discrimination in his pathway to crime. And they say that this move was cutting the sentence in half was also because it was likely he would be deported as a result of these offenses. And so this is significant collateral consequence, according to the judge. So yeah, we have another one of these cases. I discussed this last week where because it looks like, I could be wrong, but from what I'm reading here, the status of one's immigration is the helping define what is the sentence. What's the priority of law? I do not know.
Well, what's the priority of law? I mean, well, it's a complicated one. That's over my pay grade. Remember when things were simple? Remember when things were simple?
We used to sit at the front of the TV. Each of us had a fucking controller in our hands, and we fucking play. That's simple, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Something
Ride our
bad happened, you
bikes.
fucking punch that guy next to you. That's it.
And even like the police, I like the law. Like there was always guys that distrusted the police. But from my experience growing up, the guys that didn't trust the police, they didn't trust the police because they were up to no good. There was nobody that was like a normal citizen that like didn't trust the law. Now we're at a place right now where the people who are actually law abiding, they're the ones that have the most distrust for the police. And the people who are breaking the law are the ones who kind of, I'm not saying, obviously it's not everyone. There are a lot of people that are up to no good that know that they can game the system. So they don't fear the police, and they don't trust or distrust the police because they know that the system will treat them a certain way.
It's a sad
and it's sad. And you know what? I don't think it's because of the average policeman.
No.
I went to school with two guys who became police officers, and they were like legitimately when I was a kid, like two of my best friends. These are good men, good men. And they're not they didn't become cops to do this type of shit, to see this type of shit go on. So I can only imagine how difficult it is for the average police officer to have to see this shit.
It's gotten worse. Like now they're forced to wear
worse.
the cameras on them, and those cameras are showing a different result of what people are saying. Right? It's funny.
Well, I saw I don't like to get into political stuff here, but I did watch a parliamentary committee meeting last week, and it was with the president of, I believe it was the Toronto police union. So a former police officer, he became head of the union, and he's just talking, and he's not terribly polished. He's not a politician. He comes off as a normal guy, and he doesn't like this shit. And the people he represents, they don't like this shit. But
let's hope they address this, because until they do, they have set precedent, right? And it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't think it's at the street level. I think the exceptions always, and look, there's asshole cops, and there always will be. But I think generally speaking, it's not the street level police officer that's the problem here.
All right, I think that's it for this segment of the show. I want to do the Hamilton versus Brampton, man. Brought to you by, take it away, Boomer.
256 Heat. I had a chance, Len, to hang out quite a bit with Twan on Sunday. And I got to play around with his device. He brought one of his heating devices to Montreal and had it displayed there, and he was running it, and he was just showing people how it works. It is.
How quiet was it?
It was pristinely quiet.
Yes.
And also just like an incredibly high quality device. Like you can just see it. Like you can see the pride in the work, like the craftsmanship. And Twan is like, you know him. You know him better than I do. He's just one of those guys. He's as genuine as they come. And he generally wants his product to do really well. And he wants you to benefit from the product that he's selling. So the pricing is available. Go to 256heat.com. I don't know by heart what the pricing models are, but they are different. You can buy the device like 100%, it's yours for whatever price that is. And then there's different levels that there's certain financing available, but you're giving him a little bit of the hash rate of the machine, but you're paying less upfront. So if you do something like that, there's an incentive for him to give you a good device, right? Like, because he's sharing, it's a profit sharing type of arrangement.
Mm-hmm.
He gave me this T-shirt at a Five Guys. I was having a hamburger, and him and his friend walked in, and they were like, "Hey!" They joined us for dinner. It was really one of the nicer guys I met all weekend. And check him out. I'm a home miner. Len, I know you're a home miner. In Canada, it's a great way to get non-KYC sats. And even better than that, it's a great way to learn about what I think is the most, I don't know, the most interesting, but among the most interesting parts of Bitcoin is the home mining, the mining stuff and the energy stuff. So
good way to heat your home and make some sats on the side.
Yes.
Yeah. Check them out, 256heat.com, and tell them that we sent you. All right. This is the segment of the show where we do the Brampton versus Hamilton man. And I didn't change it to Ottawa because this all came last moment for you subbing in for Joey. So we'll have to do with the Hamilton versus Brampton. You at home could play along with us, and let's see if you can figure out who
I've spent some time in Brampton, Len. I've spent some time in Brampton, a little bit less in Hamilton, but I can manage.
Well, that's okay. Let's talk about this dude. He is a dump truck driver, and he crashed into a highway overpass on the A400 series highway just last week, and it was leading to closure and to an arrest. And there was a collision on the 400 series highway at 2:35 a.m. And the dump truck was driving with its box lid up, and it hit the collector side portion of the overhead. And this is not the first time this shit has happened over here. Every so often you hear a story like this, and there's closures and stuff like this. The lanes were closed for some time, at almost 12 hours they were closed, and it impacted the Friday morning commute. And the police are still trying to investigate what the fuck happened. The 32-year-old dude was arrested and charged with careless driving for having an overhyped vehicle. So that's number one.
There's some major hints in there. Major hints.
There certainly are.
Major hints. First of all, the one that you're probably not aware of, when you said it was like rush hour traffic, right? Commuters. There's not that many people working in Hamilton. So are there actual commuters in Hamilton?
So the next one, we have a 31-year-old dude, and he's facing charges in connection with a babysitter recruiting scam targeting victims across Canada. And according to investigators, between October 2024 and August of 2025, a man posing as a babysitter named Ashley Turnbull was hired for a number of babysitting jobs, and they did not disclose how many jobs he was hired for. But the police allege that the man would send checks to the victims and ask them to deposit the funds into their accounts, and then he would request that they transfer the money from the check back to the accused so the funds could be used for supplies and materials needed to babysit. When the checks were deposited into the victims' accounts and transferred, often days later, they learned that the checks were fraudulent and the money was never recovered. And they did an investigation, an extensive one, by the fraud unit, and victims across Canada were impacted by this. And a 31-year-old was identified, and he was placed under arrest. More than 20 charges, including 7 counts of fraud over $5,000. He was scheduled to appear in court just this month. I'm not sure what happened about that. And police were asking anybody with information to contact them or Crime Stoppers anonymously. So there you go. Those are your two stories.
Well, I will say this is a very Brampton heavy story. Like these sound like sometimes I listen in and I think, like, oh, okay, those are two Hamilton stories. This is definitely two Brampton stories. But
I can assure you one is not.
I believe you. I believe you. But my instinct is like, oh, these are two Brampton stories. But I'm gonna go with the first one being Brampton.
So the dump truck driver.
The dump truck driver. It's just easy to, when in doubt and there's truck driver, just go Brampton. And then I'll go the second one is Hamilton.
Yeah, you're correct. I don't have a name of the driver in question. I tried looking, I couldn't find it.
That's okay.
But for the babysitter dude, Kim Manjit or Manje, I don't know what the fuck. Either way, that's who we're dealing with. You're correct. The first story was definitely the Brampton dude, and the second one was the Hamilton dude. I hope people playing at home had fun playing this game, and brought to you by 256heat.com. Second time I think you participated in this, or third time?
Yeah, second time, and the first time I got it wrong.
So you're 50-50. Yeah.
I'm 50.
The first time I think I did an Ottawa versus Hamilton, man, if I recall correctly.
You did.
Yeah,
and
so
it tricked me up because there was like a body of water, and then I assumed that was the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what? I got a beauty for next week, though. I already got one of the stories lined up, and it's going to be a beaut. But yeah, that's it for today's show. I'm not sure if you have any final thoughts before we sign off, Boomer.
Just wishing Joey a quick and speedy recovery. Like, I know he's not feeling well. I see Daniel in the chat from the Canadian Bitcoin Conference. Daniel, if you haven't been listening, we talked about you earlier. You did such a great job this weekend. As far as
the comments from Joey are funny.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm glad for just a short period, and he's like, this is the easiest fucking story. Hey, what the fuck? It was I'll be honest, I was very busy this week, and it was just, these are the first two I could find that look pretty darn good. But I got a beauty already for next week. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I'm looking forward to next week. As always, I'm here every Monday night. Even if you don't see my face, I'm in the chat every single Monday night. I think I've missed 2 in the past 200 episodes. So I'm pretty close to 99% in the chat. If you want to get in contact with me, the ruler's broken on Twitter. And if I had one message for anybody listening on this is meet Bitcoiners in person. Get off your keyboard and just meet people in real life. Meet people in real life.
You are a Game 7er. You've been there. And speaking of Game 7s, I'm sure people want to go watch the rest of Game 7. I have no idea what the score is, and I'll be honest, I don't give a fuck what the score is. I've seen the Jays win 2 times in my lifetime. That's good enough for me. With that, Boomer, we are done. We are out of here. Final words?
Don't be a cuck.
Don't be a cuck.